7:51. Fuck. Fuck, we're late. I demonetized the VOD by saying fuck. Fuck, man. No, it's all wrong. I'm gonna go do a bit of MapComp before we get World versus World started. Because we still gotta make progress on this insane idea to farm as many keys as possible. It's been so long that I don't actually remember what map I was working on. I think I'm 15 to 25. I can go to Diesa. Diesa's probably fine. We might also decide to get like Time Guesser and Pokedoku in early. We'll see how fast we can finish Diesa, and then if we've got like 15 minutes to burn before World versus World reset kicks off, that feels like a great Pokedoku time for me. We'll see. I am just enjoying my free time. I think I would rather just Raptor around. Hope you guys are having a good Friday, though. The world is very, very not different at all between when you don't have a PhD and when you do. I think I've been asked like half a dozen times, oh, how do you feel now that you're done with your defense? I don't know, I feel like I have a lot more free time now, and that's about it. It's not a big difference. That's good though. Gives me more time for gaming. Defense complete, defense complete, defense successful. I am not technically graduated yet because I do have to do revisions. But as soon as your committee tells you that they have passed you, you cannot have your defense status removed. I basically have to finish paperwork. But yeah, defense complete, defense done. Holidays are coming up. I may legitimately do like 10 hours of work in the next 20 days total. And that is like heavy PogChamp energy for a guy like me. And then we get to figure out job hunt. So that'll be fun. Eat it. Get owned. Headed to Switzerland? Unclear. So Amanda has a couple jobs in the oven. There is one position in Switzerland. There is one position in Copenhagen. Those are the two big international ones that we know of right now. And given the way that the educational landscape looks in the US over the next 4 years, and like the women's reproductive health landscape and the like is your child safe in a school landscape, we're really trying to prioritize an international position because we just think it would be best with where we're at right now and where our family is going to be at and the size of our family is going to be in the next couple of years. But there are a couple domestic positions she's looking at as well. I think one of them is in Twin Cities. One of them is at Penn State. One of them is at Clemson. And I think there's one that she just heard about today that is at NC State, I think, I want to say. So we have options, but it's not clear which one is actually going to happen. Personally, it's a weird spot for me to be in because EU universities don't do partner hires. So in the US, if your spouse goes to work at a university and you also have like some degree of academic training, they'll usually try and find a position for you just to smooth over the process of like making a move based on an academic position because it is hard to wrangle. They don't really do that in the EU. So if she takes an EU position, I'm going to have to be a bit more involved in terms of like finding something for me to do. Especially because most of the connections that I have right now in terms of doing consulting are like pretty heavily US based. But I'm not worried too much about that. I'm sure I'll be able to figure something out. You know, I'm resourceful and I have a degree that's relatively in value. So just thinking selfishly about it, it's really hard to immigrate to Switzerland. It is really hard. And so there's a part of me that's like, the only way that you can live in Switzerland for any extended period of time is if you work there or like a family member lives there. And so that's kind of like where my preference is, because I don't know that there's legitimately any time I would ever be able to live in Switzerland unless Amanda gets a position. And that just seems like it would be a cool life experience. Denmark is a little easier. We've done some work into like, can you buy property in Denmark if you are not a citizen? Do you have access to like Danish healthcare systems if you're not a citizen? They're a little more liberal with it. If we wanted to buy a house in Denmark, we could. We would just need to get permission from like their Department of Internal Affairs or whatever. But Switzerland is like absolutely not unless you live here. Visa-wise, can the whole family go while I find something? Yeah, I think. Again, it's still pretty complicated. Like, the other thing we're trying to figure out is whether we want to move all at once or do like a staggered move, where she would go out 6 months before me, and then I would either take care of things like selling the house or finding somebody to rent the house out. And we would do a couple cross-Atlantic trips to kind of move over some high-value items so that we had less to do all in one trip and we just kind of spread it out. But that kind of seems like a step that we don't really need to deal with until it's actually finalized, and it's not finalized yet. So we're just kind of in wait and see mode right now. It's like, it's an exciting time, but it's also a really stressful time. I'm trying to stay optimistic about it because it will be like a really interesting opportunity if we manage to find somewhere to work in the EU, even if it's just for a couple of years. Congrats, Jeff. Thanks, Blank. The other part that's gonna suck shit potentially is managing raid times for NA servers. So 9 p.m. Eastern in Denmark is 4 a.m. So if I want to continue playing with my community, and I would very much like to continue playing with my community, I like you, I like KNT, I like Blank, I like Girl, I like a lot of the NA groups that I play with. I'm gonna have to pull some of the most degenerate hours that I've ever pulled in my life to make that happen on like a 2 to 3 times a week basis. And Amanda, bless her heart, is like, I know that this move is going to be really disruptive for you. I want you to make sure that you're still playing with your friends. Like, I don't want to take you out of your social community. If you have to stay up really late or get up really early so you can play with your friends, like, that's okay. I understand. God bless, you know, fortunate that I was able to find somebody willing to do this who has that outlook on me playing stupid video games with my friends. But I am not a morning person, and the idea of trying to play Guild Wars 2, let alone stream Guild Wars 2 at 4 fucking a.m. is not, I don't know how that's gonna work. It's gonna be rough. What's my doctorate in? I have a PhD in education, is what the degree says. Realistically, what it is it is a data science degree with a focus on educational data. My dissertation topic, without giving out too much information about it, is about how much data you need to use machine learning algorithms in educational contexts in order to ensure that you have good model performance, you have good reliability, etc. You should like cruises. The 4-year cruises that are being offered now would look tempting. I don't know, man. Do you wish you liked cruises? Aren't they just like floating disease palaces? I would never, I wouldn't take a cruise for like 3 or 4 other reasons. I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your life, but horrible for the environment. I've heard cruise ships exceptionally destructive things to do to like local ecosystems in terms of like the amount of fuel that they use. B, people be getting sick on those things all the time. C, if you ever miss one at a port of call, they just leave your ass behind. I could never. It's not like you can just book like a flight the next day. They only got a couple boats. And then D? I don't know, but like there's probably a D. Honestly, for my money, the life would be like work as an airline steward for 4 years instead. Just fly around a whole bunch of different places. That's the way I would have did it. The idea of an all expenses paid vacation in a box and a void sounds great. Yeah, but like, do they have internet on a cruise ship? These are the questions that we as gamers must ask ourselves. It's not like they're going to be running an Ethernet cord behind them. And like, yeah, they're sailing over the transatlantic cables, but, you know, do they work? At least with an airline, you're like, I'm in a metal tube for 5 hours, and now I'm in Sacramento, California, and my next flight leaves tomorrow, and I can just go do whatever I want. From your wife's POV, the hard part for partial night shift schedule is actually the appetite food schedule. Oh god, I imagine. And like, I'm already pretty bad about that. I don't know. We'll see. I already know that I probably like lack the mental discipline to maintain a good, like, healthy life balance. If I was going to be pulling those hours, I'm so sorry to leave you behind, Mentor Tag, who called for help on a champion, but that champion is really hard to solo, and I just want to leave and keep doing map completion. It's not personal, I'm sorry. So I don't know. There's a lot of factors, but you know, the perspective that I'm trying to maintain is that despite the fact that I'm 35 and I don't need to collect any more life experiences, especially for a guy who was born in 1989 and has lived through like 4 stock market crashes and has lived through 9/11 and has lived through like 3 different wars in the Middle East. Like, I'm good collecting experiences, and if nobody ever gave me an experience ever again and like every day was exactly the same until I died, I would be chill with that. But at the same time, like, when else are you really gonna realistically get an opportunity to live in an EU country? And it might be temporary, it might not. EU academic contracts are usually done on like a 3-year rolling period. So, you know, if we're out there for 3 years and we decide that actually the EU is not that great, if we're out there for 3 years and it doesn't look like the educational system in the US is really improving, we have some flexibility to kind of decide what we want to do from there. But I don't know. If you have an opportunity to do something interesting, sometimes it's nice to just take it. Where the hell am I? Hello? Is this it? Oh, there we go. US show bags enjoyer? What do you mean? High bags? Oh, no. I hate that. I have to stay organized. Can I tell you, I always thought that was like a Blishud mod. I didn't realize there's actually a default UI setting. Not sure the US will be any better in 4 years when it elects Elon Musk next. You mean when Elon Musk buys the White House? You mean when our government moves to a full capitalist system? Where you bid on the presidency for the next 4 years? Yeah, probably not. But who knows? Like, one of the good things that came out of the election for me was that I really tried to reduce, since November 5th, I've really tried to reduce the amount of time I spend on websites that do not generate reputable news. AKA, like, social media sites and news aggregators like Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, etc. And I definitely feel like it has improved my mental overall, obviously, because like one of the most destructive things you can do to yourself is pay attention to social media. But at the same time, there's a lot of like professional colleagues who I talk to who are very smart people, who are older and have a lot more experience than I do, who are like, it's a really good time to leave the US right now. And so I also give that a lot of merit as well. Because, like, these are people who I know for a fact know what they're talking about. And even just, like, outside of the political system, sending a child to a United States school, United States public school, does not feel like the way that you get your child ahead in life. And I say this as somebody who has a degree in education. The public school system in the US is broken. So your options are either send your student to a public school, come what may. Maybe they get bullied, maybe they get shot, maybe they have to learn about the Bible because of a state-mandated curriculum, who knows. Send them to a private school, which is basically just education but for the wealthy only, which is like the exact opposite premise that the educational system was built on in this country. Or C, go to a different country. And option C sounds nice. Option C sounds real good. But we'll see. Hey, no matter what, we'll make it work. You're the poor kid at the rich kid school, is your dad's a teacher admin? Look, we talk a lot about privilege in the modern day society. Privilege is not like inherently a good or bad thing. It is a resource that some people have access to and that other people don't access to. And if you use your privilege to like help other people get ahead rather than hoarding it yourself like a jealous dragon who has to obtain all of the privilege in the world, then I think that is a noble cause in a lot of ways. Did I actually finish this art? I think I did finish this art. Like, I'm also obviously born into privilege. A, I'm white. B, I'm heterosexual. C, I'm a man. That comes with a significant number of affordances in our society, whether you like it or not. But privilege is about what you do with it, not whether you have it. And I would like to think that I try and use at least some of the time that I have on this earth to, you know, help other people enjoy the same kind of privileges that I have access to, rather than having them gated behind a bunch of factors that you're born with. It's part of what attracted me into the educational system, because that's kind of what education is designed to do, is close equity gaps between people. I'm gonna get destroyed. Unless I just start nading people. Oh my god, there's more. I'm leaving, man. Goodbye. Can I become like a tornado or a lich or something? I don't think lich is gonna help me, but I can at least get some extra life force out of this. I can rally. I'll rally. I'll be fine. God, for a second I thought that guy was stomping me. I don't think I'm going to be fine, but at least I finished this renown heart. You can't GG in open world, can you? No. Usable only raids or fractals. Do it. Kill me. I bit off more than I could chew. Son of a... The world's densest bush. You thought you wanted to be in education because you enjoyed teaching and mentoring, but then you realized you just enjoyed understanding things and not actually teaching. Based? Huge and based? I think I kind of wound up in a similar space. Like, I'm not going into academia now that I'm done with my degree. I have no... you look back to like 2014, which is I think around when I started like my master's program. I had no interest in education even then, like when Obama was president and the days outside were brighter. There are a ton of issues that are inherent to the US educational system, and especially the higher educational system, that I really just don't think are ever going to get resolved. But I genuinely enjoy the process of like teaching and mentoring and getting to see, like, you just enjoy understanding things. I enjoy watching other people come to understand things. I think that it is fun to learn. I enjoy learning things, but I also enjoy watching other people get excited about learning things, which is, part of why my content creator stuff is structured the way that it is. Teaching somebody something and then watching them use that knowledge that you had, like, it feels good. But the problem with the higher educational system is that it's not designed to reward that. What the higher educational system is designed to reward, what the academic system in the US is designed to reward, is test scores if you're in K-12, or publications if you're in higher ed. That is your primary metric. And so if you don't enjoy that process, and I really do not like academic writing, you're kind of shit out of luck. Despite the fact that, selfishly, I think that the academic system in the US could use more people like me, it does not reward me for doing the things that I like doing. And so instead, I'm going to seek out a career that does reward me for doing things that I enjoy. Like you said, winding up in like, tech leadership, or a supervisory position leading like a data science team at an ed tech startup or something like that. Like, there's a lot of affordances to be able to do that in the consulting space and in the corporate space that I think will be just as fulfilling as academia, and with the added bonus that you get paid like twice as much to do it. So we'll see. I've got a couple. Is Wind and Truth out today? What the fuck is Wind and Truth? What is that? Why are you writing it in all caps? I have no idea. Is this like a PoE thing? I want to catch one. I can catch a Chartist plane grub, yeah. Yeah, dude, absolutely. Chartist plane grub me. Chartist planes grub. Oh, Wind and Truth is a Sanderson novel. I have no clue. I don't read. I wish I was kidding. I like my media interactive. Stinky cow, give me a water. All I know about things that come out today is PoE, because it's all that anybody has talked about. PoE 2, PoE 2. I hope they're having fun. It's just not my thing. Sister like Mackenzie and scared you off of consulting. I mean, I get it, man. I'm not saying that like consulting is great. I'm saying that consulting aligns more closely with things that I enjoy doing. And I feel like I'm reasonably equipped. Can I happy smile? Here? Oh my god, you can cheer somebody up by just cheering at them. Bow. Sit. I'm fine. I mean, I say this having relatively little consulting experience. Not none, but relatively little. I feel like I'm reasonably well equipped to handle the kind of gamesmanship and politicking that comes with it. And in some ways, I actually think it's like not too different from shit that I have to deal with in terms of like games and politics and social networking in like Guild Wars. Not to try and be that guy who's like, I think that playing a video game is going to give me like real life experience, but I don't know. I think it does. Commanding, in particular, is a managerial skill. And then adminning in a relatively large Discord really forces you to be good at working with people who all have their own agendas and trying to get them to find common ground when they all want different outcomes. Chart is plain scrub. Hiya. It's you. It wasn't you, it was you. 800 hours in PoE, so basically new to the game, aka the Factorio experience, aka the Rimworld experience, aka the Dwarf Fortress experience. But this is PoE 2, it's all different now. Or so I've heard. You have a natural advantage for politicking. Your sarcastic voice sounds completely normal and level-headed. Thank God, man. Because I don't know how to communicate any other way. North Nolan Hatchery, thank you. I do think I need to figure out a voice for when I am truly engaging in something from like a legitimate constructive perspective. Because I think it is at times difficult to tell when I'm trying to have a legitimate conversation and when I'm trying to bait people. Because I don't have the tone shifts down entirely correct. Because while I'm not diagnosed and haven't received a diagnosis for it, I'm probably on the spectrum somewhere. I fucking love trains, and if that is an indicator by itself, what else is? Only 600 hours in Factorio. Did you play Space Age yet, though? Space Age is going to be the expansion that pushes Factorio past City Skylines in playtime for me. It fucking rules, man. And I may try and figure out a way to stream it, even though Factorio is possibly one of the most, like, stream poison games in existence, because it's insanely boring to watch. More excited about Ray's trains than actual space. Do you watch Dosh Doshington? Because some of the intersections with the Ray's tracks that he built in his Space Age video that he put out last week are actual eye candy. Like, I gotta find the blueprints he made, otherwise I'm gonna be trying to rebuild them frame by frame from his video. They are beautiful. They are so pretty. Even if you like to design some of your own blueprints, I would take a look at some of the stuff that he's done, because it's really nice. Alright, we're almost done here. Block, how dare you? Bone, how dare you? The only games you have actual significant playtime in are Minecraft and Guild Wars 2 and Rocket League. 3,300 in Rocket League definitely counts. But here's why I have two follow-up questions for you, if you'll indulge me. Question one is, what do you consider to be significant playtime? Because for me, degenerate, significant playtime for me is when I cross the 1,000 hour mark. And then B, do you consider yourself a gamer? Are you somebody who's like, I have 1,000 hours in any game that's like not on a phone? Yeah, I'm a gamer. Or are you like, I only play 2 or 3 games total and I really like those games, but that doesn't mean that I'm a gamer. Because there's two camps of people, you know? There's gamers who are like, I play every indie release and my Steam library has like 5,000 games in it, I'm a gamer. And then there's people who are like, the only thing I play is Team Fortress 2, I have 40,000 hours in it, I am a gamer. I'm just curious where you lie on that political spectrum. The least problematic gamer political spectrum. Not a gamer, you just have ADHD. You know, it's valuable. It's still valuable to know. Oh, wait, this is the... What am I doing, man? This is the Brewfest Renown Art. I don't need to be collecting worm eggs like some peasant. I can just go feed one guy 10 drinks. Let's go kill one soldier with alcohol poisoning and then move on to the next Renown Art. Sorry, unalive one soldier with alcohol poisoning. I'm just mashing. I don't know what half these buttons do. Is that a projectile reflect? Nope. Owned. No comment about the giant dick? No, wait, come back. I want to comment about the giant dick. I'm scrolling up. I'm scrolling up. I missed it. I missed it. I want to talk about the giant dick. No. Oh, that giant dick. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just wish people would talk to me. I've gotten so many random DMs from people that are like, hey, here's the stuff that people said about you in a stream that you didn't watch, or like in a Discord that you're not in. And it's like, I hate Chef. I hate the fact that like Chef did this one thing. Can you guys believe that Chef did this thing? And I'm like, man, just tell me what the thing is. I'm not a smart man. But like, if I hurt your feelings, it was probably not intentional. I'm just not going to be able to make it better if I don't know that I fucked up in the first place. My DMs are always open if you want to yell at me for doing something stupid. But I have not heard anything about it, and that kind of sucks. Alright, bottomless stomach soldier. Let's see just how bottomless that stomach is. Yeah, I think 1K hours is my benchmark for significant playtime in like any game. MMOs notwithstanding. I think MMOs exist on a completely different time scale because they're social games. I think if you have like 5,000 hours in an MMO, you've played it a lot. Because like, God, I don't know, this account? Let me go see what my last Oliva DM said. Oliva. The last time I pinged Oliva, I had 5,900 hours in Guild Wars 2. You can just do age, but it expresses it in terms of days, not hours. So I have 5,900 hours in Guild Wars 2. Counting the other 2 accounts that I have, but don't really spend a ton of time on, I'm probably closer to 6,000 hours, if not a little bit over 6,000. And the fucked up part about that is that if you had asked me in, like, Tells you ours, does it? Oh yeah, 5932. So I'm at 5932 right now. And the part that's fucked up is that if you had asked me in like 2022, when I probably would have been at like 3,000 to 3,500 hours, if I had played a lot of Guild Wars 2, I would have been like, I play it sometimes. Like, I play it 2 to 3 times a day. I think it's more because MMOs are like social in addition to being games, at least relative to the other kind of games that I play, that, I don't know, it just feels different. It's like, I don't feel like I've played Guild Wars 2 for 3 hours when I go to a raid. I feel like I have spent time with my friends for 3 hours. It's just different in my brain. Also, hello, Bushido. I see you sneaking in there, even though you're the exact same color as Night Fury is. Can I get a comment from you, Bushido, on when we will be seeing the Driver No Speak English GVG revival, given that GVG Summer is now fully underway in NA? Not to put you on the spot, but if you could answer on behalf of the entire game mode, and then we can clip it and we can, you know, post it on every Discord we're in. I'm just saying, you still got a chance to buy low on GVG Summer right now. But these prices will not last forever. There's a version of ENG called QA, led by the French. I'm in. Did I tell you, by the way, Bushido? Here's how you know that GVG Summer is truly underway. I filled for rounds like 2 weeks ago. I think it was Youth that sent me a DM, or it was Ben. It was one of those two guys from Washed Up. And they're like, hey, we need a fill for a GVG in like an hour and a half. Are you available? And it just so happened that I was. But at the same time, in my mind, I was like... I was the reaction gif of like, you must be truly desperate to come to me for help. But I did it. I showed up. I filled, I recorded, and I posted my footage after the rounds. I was all in on it. I did the whole thing. I completed my yearly GVG player cosplay so they don't try to take my membership card away. I worked really hard for that membership card. I spent like 5 months playing with KEKW. It's one of my most prized possessions. But it would be nice to see that community pick back up. I think Sonny's been talking about doing another NA draft tourney, although I don't think there's finalized dates yet. I just know that he reached out to me about, like, when are you around to do commentary? And now that I'm done with dissertation stuff, the answer is I'm around, like, all the time, man. My schedule is wide open now. And honestly, the last time we did that GVG tourney with Callus and Knight and Viridian, it was a ton. I had a ton of fun doing that. I don't think I did a very good job, and I think there's definitely things that I could have improved on, like commentary wise, but the whole process was really, really fun. I would love to do that again. Get back here. Did I bother to submit a ticket to get assigned a Cornerstone? No. And so that's probably going to be an issue tonight. So I did not think there was going to be any world where people actually got moved, based on the fact that people very, very rarely get moved. So I did not submit a ticket because I was like, there's no shot that we're going to be able to run reset. And I can just partner transfer if people actually do end up moving. But what I've heard so far, and I've intentionally tried to stay distant from this because I really don't want to have to deal with the, like, oh, Chef is an ANET partner, he's the one who actually got teams moved conversation when I have, like, completely tried to separate myself from this whole issue. The complication in that is that if people actually did get moved and we only find out on reset, I can't select my team ahead of time because I'm still going to get solo shuffled. So, like, if I set my team as Yolan Haven now, which is where I think Cornerstone is supposed to be, I'm still going to get match made and put into a random team, I think. So my plan for tonight is to join squad and find out where I go, but my expectation is that I'm going to get shuffled into a random team, and by the time I manage to get to wherever Cornerstone wound up, I'm going to be queued by the time I get there. So I'm probably just going to be chilling and enjoying the solo player experience and waiting until queues die down wherever Cornerstone wound up, and then I can come and play with you guys later. But there's also a part of me that's like, I think it'll be a lot of fun to get solo shuffled. I want to know what it's like to just be a random guy. Where, like, you're not in a guild, but you like world versus world and you like following different commanders. I'm excited about Fridays. I'm like, man, I have no idea who I'm going to run with tonight, and that's kind of neat. It's just going to be whoever's on my borderland. Anyway, that's going to piss Ruthless off that I didn't actually put a ticket in. So, you can tell him I'm sorry. I haven't DM'd him yet. I might not. $200, 400 people were affected by 4 to 10. I mean, it's complicated, man. It's really complicated. Let me figure out exactly how I want to describe why it's complicated while I fight this Lashtail. Do not at Ruthless. This is bad manners. I don't need any more issues from him. Kill these fucking ads. Hey, Aaron. I'm doing well. Night Fury and I have been talking about the geopolitical landscape in the US and how the educational system here, especially the public educational system, is, like, fundamentally flawed. So it's been a good time. I would say the vibes are strong. I would say that we have good vibes and that it's been a fun time. Move to Australia? It's not... Wait, I have no talent selected right now? What the fuck am I doing? Hold on. This is most important. I don't mind that because I use grenade kit. Are any of these better? Not really. No. Yes, because all my grenades are explosions, and then I don't have those unlocked yet. Alright. Let me see if I can condense a thought, right? And this is probably going to wind up being longer than something you can clip, but you can try to clip if you want. The complication is that ArenaNet doesn't move people between teams. ArenaNet has done that for, like, the first month or two of restructuring because they were complications and people legitimately got sorted to the wrong teams. They have since stopped doing that, and my understanding is that you get one free transfer on your account and then that's it. But even that, I think, is like an informal practice. There is also the issue of the perceived bias that ANET has towards people who play in organized groups. You can spend like 10 minutes on the forum to observe that bias. I don't think it's true. But also, I play with organized groups, and I'm an ArenaNet partner. That complicates my perception of it. I can't entirely remove myself from a biased perspective that I might hold. So the complication is that, personally, I would love to have my friends play together, and I think the reason that my friends can't play together is because the restructuring system and the lockout system was abused in a way that wasn't intended. Everyone was kicked from the guild like 30 minutes before lockout actually started. If Bully had just kicked K&T and Girl, fine. You got us, I get it. There's drama, you won. To remove everyone from the guild, when Cornerstone is the unofficial FA community guild, is a little harsh. And while there is drama between Ruthless and Bully, that drama doesn't need to get taken out on people who just want to play with their community. And that's not fair. That's Chef's personal bias. Unfortunately, Chef is not just a player in Guild Wars. He is also an ArenaNet partner. He also helps to admin a large Discord. And he has kind of like a broader community role in terms of the way that he structures his content. And for that version of Chef, he understands how it might look like a community is receiving preferential treatment where their ability to marshal 200, 250, 300 people to all submit tickets is access to resources that a random player who may also have been kicked from a guild before lockout wouldn't necessarily have access to. In other words, if you're one player in a guild and you got accidentally kicked before lockout, it's extremely unlikely that you would get put back on that team. And the only reason that Cornerstone might get reassembled is because so many people were affected. That also isn't necessarily fair to a solo player who might have gotten kicked out from a guild. And so there's a legitimate complaint that a lot of solo players could have, which is that people who play in organized groups get preferential treatment. I can understand how that perspective looks, and objectively, if Cornerstone does get resorted, it may fall under that category. I don't know. We'll see. As far as I'm concerned, I did not put a ticket in. I'm a partner. I can transfer to any server that I want. It may mean that I miss reset, but eventually I'll be able to go to wherever our community winds up. That, in and of itself, is a nice privilege that I have as partner. And in general, I'm just trying to be really careful about making sure that I'm not using resources that I have access to, that an average player would not have access to receive preferential treatment. Because I don't think that's good for the community overall. That is definitely way too long to fit into a clip, but good luck. So tonight I'm doing the solo player experience. We'll see how it goes. And I hope that, personally, I hope that my friends are able to play together. That would be nice for them. Because there's a lot of people who had absolutely nothing to do with this drama who have gotten screwed over unfairly. Like, the number of people who I've had to talk to who are just randomly in Cornerstone because they were on FA in like 2015 and have a couple of friends there who are now like, hey, I got kicked from the guild. What's going on? How do I play with my friends for the next month? Is a lot higher than you would think. They could have just opted kicking Girl and K&T. Exactly my point. If Bully had kicked just Girl and K&T, that would have sucked for us, but it would have made for a good world versus world lore story. Like, oh, did you hear the time that Bully, tried to take control of his alliance back, and he kicked a bunch of people, and like he had shadow operatives and all this kind of stuff. That's a good world versus world story. But to kick everyone, there's a lot of people in Cornerstone who we will probably never be able to find again, and the only way they'll be able to get back in is if they know to whisper somebody. And that sucks. That's the point at which it becomes more than just drama between two guilds that makes a good story, and becomes something that is actually destructive to the community at large, which is not an approach that you should probably take. You don't see it as preferential. I mean, like, you and I are going to have different perspectives because you're not a partner. I feel like it's preferential, and I'm the guy. It's me. So I appreciate that you don't see it that way. I'm just positive that some people will see it that way, and those are the people that I'm trying to think about. Also, you're in K&T with me in the most respectful way that I can possibly say it. I don't really care what you think about it because you already know me. It's more a perception of ArenaNet decided that this person should be partnered with us in an official capacity, and I'm going to interpret their actions through that lens. That's the perspective that I'm concerned about. Did I see someone made a post on the Guild Wars 2 forums? Yes, man, I did see that. That was King. That was noted Magswag player King. And also that, like, I understand why that post got deleted, but I was in there F5 and on it. It was great content. Apparently, I was DMing with him about this. Um he may have gotten that thread locked himself because he reported somebody else in it for bullying. And I was like, King, it's your thread. Like you told on yourself. Why would you do this? That was a good read. Why have you taken it away from yourself? Do we have any devs in the Alliance? No. Cornerstone does not have any devs in the Alliance. We have Cecil, who plays with us from time to time, but he is not officially a member of Cornerstone. He's just a guy who logs in when he's lurking on stream and thinks the content is good. Which, in many ways, makes him more of a world versus world main than, like, most other people I know. And that if content does not look good, he doesn't log in. In my opinion, as a Fight Guild player, that's kind of based. There's another person too, right? Not that I can think of. I mean, there's Roy. I don't think Roy's ever played with us. There's CMC. I don't think CMC's ever played with us. I don't think Grouch has ever played with us. I do not think there are any ANET devs in Cornerstone. Doesn't it take a certain mentality to create the content to begin with? Oh, absolutely. And that's, to Ruthless's credit and to my credit and to Zig's credit, I think that's a mentality that we're very good at. Like, I think there's a perception in the broader Fight Guild community that, like, K&T is a Fight Guild, and at some level that's true, but there are some Fight Guilds that I've run with who are like, alright, content's dead, we're gonna log out. It's extremely rare that a K&T raid will end in less than 2 hours. If there is absolutely nothing to do on a map, usually we will be trying to hit any objective we can, we'll do any PPT we can, we'll whisper any other, like, commander who's online that we can to be like, hey, let's fight, you guys want to come play the game, this is the map we're on, you know, let's come do something, let's put something together. So there's that element of creating content, when I think there's some other guilds that do actually just kind of log out once the content is dead. But at the same time, we're not like a PPT guild. Also, hey Sushi, how you doing? Welcome, first time chatter. I hope your runs have been going well lately. I do not spend a ton of time on Twitch as a viewer, so I don't think I've been lurking with you probably in like a month or two, but it's always nice seeing other people who command also stream so that we can kind of see that perspective as a community. Good to see how other people manage their squads. They're in a PPT guild or a Graves guild. That's true. But also, like, every guild that I run with now, if I see graves, I'm telling them what graves are. And the number of people who don't know that graves are a thing, it's high, but it's getting lower every day. Mostly because I'm out there doing, like, graves advocacy. The world's #1 undertaker. We've seen a fight guild a while back tuck a DPS hacker into the middle of their guild run. Others use spies on the regular, screenshot Discord rosters, not their rivals with lesser numbers, till nobody enjoys playing against that type of tryhard extremist. Intel is not that needed. Intel is not that needed. I mean, this is my perspective as a fight guild. I can't really speak to other people, especially people that I don't run with. But the extent of intel gathering that I use is I have most commanders in the game on my friends list. That's pretty much like 80% of what my friends list is these days, is just other commanders. So that if I'm fighting them, I can whisper them, and I can be like, hey, we're a little big. Do you want me to try and lose this other group I'm running with? Hey, you guys are a little big. Any chance you could try and shake green so that the fights are closer? And then also ARC DPS logging, because ARC DPS can give you a surprising amount of information about what people in an enemy squad are running. But that's really all the intel that you should realistically need in order to set up fights with other players. If you're doing anything extra, like you've got spies and comms and stuff like that, I think that's more indicative of like antisocial behaviors than anything that's trying to generate interesting content for the game mode overall. Why does it feel like this and more of the actual norms for world versus world, and it's thinned the fields for years? I don't know. I can't comment on it because I don't spend a lot of time running with guilds that go to those extremes. But I do know that when I personally am hearing about that kind of stuff, where people are like, oh, I looked into their comms, they only have 24. It's like, you can just run like Fightbot these days, man. Like, you don't need to be asking people how big they are when you can just like ask the robot. I don't know. It's like it's a good question, and I do love engaging in this overall topic of like, why are world versus world social norms shifting? Because I do think they are, but that specific community of like people who will go into somebody else's Discord to figure out how many people are on comms tends to be a little more extreme than the communities that I prefer to interact with personally. So I don't have a good read on them specifically, unfortunately. Hello, Bogfang. Hello. Would you like to try out my new grenades that I spent talent points on? TS3 haters in Alliance chat. Tail all this time, brother. First day here. People are going to be asking what TS3 is in like 2028, man. If you need a dude to pull you waypoints on CD, you're part of the problem. That, or you are a very dedicated defender who is trying to save an objective that's been under attack for like an hour. But in spirit, I agree with you. There are legitimate times to pull an E-waypoint. But yeah, God, yeah, that's another one, is like Tactivator griefing. I think the uncomfortable truth for a lot of people, and this is also like not necessarily a practice that I condone, but I get it, is Tactivator trolling. Because like 80% of the time a Tactivator is trolled, it's not a spy, it's a dude on your team who is trying to get onto a queued map, and he is lying to your teammates to try and bait them into switching maps so that he can fit on and play with his friends. Or her, or they. Tactivator griefers are not only male, but like, that's what it is in probably 80 to 90% of cases. Always blame Nova. Nova is #1 Tactivator puller. Tactivator enemy #1. So cloud queues of opposing teams tag up on those opposing teams to lead a bit and finish dailies and weeklies, then log back over to crush what was built up. You gotta tell me who these people are, man. I did not know anybody was going to those extremes. I'll tag up on other servers, primarily because sometimes it's nice to be able to run with a group that like I don't already know. It gets me closer to what it's like to be a true pug tag, rather than having like 15 people from K&T following me and saying that I'm pug tag just because I have tag open. But anytime that I do that, I intentionally try to not do it on a team that I'm in a matchup with, just because like I would like to avoid that specific issue. I did not know that people were doing that often. Yeah, we also do have people like Doc who accuse people of hacking when they're just using mechanics that he personally doesn't understand, which is a more common occurrence than it probably should be. I think people are really fast in general to jump to accusations of hacking. And that's not to say that hacking doesn't happen. Like, people 100% like thief sword leap into objectives. But just because you see a thief inside of an objective doesn't necessarily mean they sword leapt to get in. They may have just stayed inside the objective since the last time it was capped, and you didn't find them because they can roll stealth. There's legitimate ways for it to happen. You should never use activators? Correct. Exhibit A, Tactivators are a gold loss. They will never make you profit. E-waypoints don't make you money, so why would you spend money on installing them? Check and make. Now, if there was a Tactivator that instantly refreshed your nodes, oh, now we can have a conversation about whether Tactivators are worth it. That would actually be kind of a sick Tactivator the more I think about it. But the game gives you free Tactivators? No, it's the opportunity cost or something. Guy who took one economics course in college and is now trying to explain why things that you get for free aren't necessarily free, even though they're in like a video game. You don't understand the opportunity cost and the supply and demand curve. The effort that you put into getting free Tactivators represents effort lost that you could have spent on other goods and services. Furious, the noise of somebody furiously scrolling through like an e-textbook. Puglanding can be demanding, but it still feels like it's a needed thing in World versus World. It is. That is explicitly why Commander Camp exists. Because I don't personally have the time to pugman as much as I would like. And so I figured that one of the best ways to incentivize pug tagging in the game mode, which is, like, people do not pug tag as much as would be healthy for the game. But also it's not fair to demand that people pug tag if they don't have the time and resources for it. So I figured, like, for me personally, the best way to get more pug tags in the game was to like explain how it works and give people the resources to try it themselves. And I would like to hope that that's a successful initiative. I sort of know if it is or not based on like how many people have watched Commander Camp. But I don't know if like every person who's ever been a Commander Camp viewer has actually then gone and pug tagged. Just one chrono nerf? Unfortunately, your message has been lost in translation. Next patch, Chrono will be receiving Chaos Aura Share again. Ah, yes, let me spend my squad skirmish chests on Jade Heroic. No. You spend your skirmish chests on boxes of Siege to get the Infinite Siege. Or, if you want money, you spend them on Badges of Heroics, because Badges of Heroics are... The price of a Badge of Heroics scales linearly with the price of Siege, because you can convert Badges of Heroics into Siege. You can actually make a ton of money if you convert your Badges of Heroics into Siege blueprints and sell them on the trading post. You think getting more Pugmander tags around more often involves rewarding group play with small scale 25 max? Skins, account-bound fancy infusions, things like ascended food trays and guild banners would work per map, so groups would move more, fit more maps. The issue with rewarding commanding, and I spend a lot of time thinking about this, it's a really interesting conversation topic, so I appreciate you bringing it up. The issue with rewarding pug tagging is that if the rewards are too good, people will pug tag who don't have any inherent interest in becoming a better pug tag. They will simply public tag because they're getting rewards for it. And so, oh yeah, in my squad, I probably should. Squad join Ruthless doesn't work. How do I get it? Oh, just X. Oh, what should I play tonight? I should probably get it like TeamSpeak too. Herrick. Of course. There we go. Yeah, I'll just bring DH/Firebrand.